It was a case of Murder, She Wrote for the wonderful Dame Angela Lansbury. Now, many people know that, I've been very lucky, as I often say, to meet some wonderful people. And I was lucky enough to meet Dame Angela Lansbury on a very final appearance over here in the United Kingdom. She was actually appearing, I think they've renamed it now, but it was at the Gielgud Theatre in a revival of Blithe Spirit, by Noel Coward, Sir Noel. Amazing to think as well that Angela knew Noel Coward. All those years later, he's been revived on the London stage by her star. And quite frankly, when you think about it, that's the thing about reaching such a wonderful age, isn't it? Now, Angela, the reason why she wanted to appear on that theatre was simply this, that her mother had made her stage debut on the very same stage and theatre all of those years ago. And I remember chatting to her in the stalls, and she was quite emotional about it because obviously every single night she would be standing in the wings waiting for the curtain to go up, knowing that her mum had literally stood in the same place. Frightening, isn't it? Had it myself, you know what I'm saying. But of course, when you think about Angela Lansbury, to a generation, most people only know her for that brilliant TV series that's repeated forever around, no matter where you are. Murder, She Wrote's on somewhere, isn't it? But it's still great, and I don't know about you, even though I've watched loads of them, whenever one pops up, you think, oh, I'll watch that again, But Murder, She Wrote was a major success for Angela, simply because she came up with most of the ideas, and her production team took the helm after a few seasons. But that wasn't without its battles, as ever in Hollywood. Let me explain. On it, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, were you a Murder, She Wrote fan? I think we all were, but because it was a modern day sort of Miss Marple. But who remembers those brilliant films, 4 of them in fact, made over at MGM Elstree, Boreham Wood, Hertfordshire, with the late and brilliant Margaret Rutherford. Do you remember her? Oh, wasn't she good? Of course, as Miss Marple. Always alongside her husband as well, Stringer Davis. And apparently that was the inspiration for Murder, She Wrote. But you see, as I say, Angela Lansbury, when we were chatting at that theatre, she'd been a megastar for years, signing up to MGM under the tutelage of the tyrant of the studio, Louis B. Mayer. But she said she was never actually that frightened of him because, being of Irish descent, she knew how to give as good as what he gave out. And apparently she couldn't quite really, he couldn't get the better of her. One thing, though, that apparently he did say to her was, you're never going to get leading roles because you're not a beauty, not like Hedy Lamarr or Lana Turner. Lovely man, I'm sure you'll agree. But of course, she outlasted them all, but was very kind about the likes of Lana, Ava, and so many more. Angela Lansbury, the one lady that she truly admired, was none other than Howard Hughes's former flame. Yes, well, apparently not, but according to everybody, she was. The brilliant and beautiful Jane Russell. Remember The Outlaw? Who could forget that, and the marketing behind that? Wonderful stuff. But you see, as Angela really embraced the world of television as movies slowed up, she told me this real sort of interesting side of it, because for those fans who watch Murder, She Wrote, you will know that she was very good at making sure some of the elder statesmen of Hollywood, the likes of the Hollywood stars like Van Johnson, Farley Granger, people like that, they were all given guest spots and slots in Murder, She Wrote. And after she'd booked Cesar Romero, apparently, the TV executive said, look, we're sick of these old people, I'm paraphrasing here, but, we don't want these old people. We need younger people to attract a younger audience. But Angela held out, knowing that she was the main producer on the show, executive producer. Of course, she had people of a modern day age in that era, like the beautiful Stephanie Powers, Robert Wagner, famous, of course, for Heart to Heart, so many others. But as she said, even at that point, she was battling a lot of studio executives, even though the show was rated at #1 and #2 in the ratings hits. So it's fascinating to learn, isn't it, that somebody as powerful as Angela Lansbury in her time, she was being chastised by studio bosses, seemingly because she just knew that, well, some of these people, as I say, the older stars of an era, that sadly were perhaps now not getting the work that, they should have been. And she wanted many, of course, to join Murder, She Wrote. Apparently, the one person that slipped through her fingers was none other than her old MGM co-star, Ava Gardner. Nothing about money, apparently, but Ava had made and done a deal to appear in Knots Landing, and apparently that had paid her quite well. meaning she didn't need to go before the cameras again. But as Angela told me, she was an incredible actress, not only a beautiful woman, but would have added a lot to a storyline that they had for Murder, She Wrote. Isn't it nice, though, that someone of that particular, well, high level was supporting so many people that have been overlooked from the golden era of Hollywood? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.